white men are not allowed to have a voice in that part of the industry. And so I understand the fear, but I also see black men and people who are allowed to say whatever they want quite often on social media at ESPN, who have daughters, who are athletes, who are silent. And I know damn well that they're not letting a guy, a biological male, play against their daughter on the volleyball court.
Of course not.
But they're silent. And so
why?
I think that, well, I think it just goes back to the woke.
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. Before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you've been enjoying the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so, Sage. Just when we thought somebody like Sage Steele couldn't stoop any lower, I came across this conversation that was going on between Sage Steele and former Fox News host Tucker Carlson, in which they were having a discussion and an open dialogue about trans athletes. And within this dialogue between the two, somehow, some way, Sage Steele found a way to blame so-called black men as it pertains to the issue of transgenders within sports. I can't make this up. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip, and then, of course, I'll come back and chime in.
Did any other anchors express empathy, offline, privately?
There were a few. There were definitely a few, and anchors or reporters or analysts for sure. There's a lot of people who feel the way I feel about many things. A lot of men who work there, who are on air, who wrote and said, I don't know that it's courage, but they said, I wish I had the courage that you have.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. I mean, come on. Get some dignity, right? I mean,
I agree. Grow a pair.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I do try to put myself in their shoes.
No, I get it.
As white men.
Yeah, no, I get it.
When you don't have endless money and you have a family to support, white men are not allowed to have a voice in that part of the industry. And so I understand the fear, but I also see black men and people who are allowed to say whatever they want quite often on social media at ESPN.
Excuse me? Didn't we just watch Kyrie Irving lose millions and millions of dollars? Not to mention endorsements? All because he posted and tweeted about watching a movie, a film? Not to mention her own coworkers or her own ex-coworkers at ESPN and what they went through.
Maybe I'm missing something as it relates to the law, but why we don't know her name? It's not like she's a minor. I feel like we should know her name publicly as well. I'm Jalen Rose, and I would like to apologize for a comment I made earlier on NBA Countdown. I questioned why a woman's name who had an alleged affair with Celtics head coach Ime Udoka was not made public. After an internal investigation, and it was discovered that she was a subordinate to the head coach, I now understand fully why her name should not be released to the public.
But what I've tried to employ the female members of my family, some of who you all met and talked to and what have you, is that, again, and this is what I've done this all my life, let's make sure we don't do anything to provoke wrong action.
Steven, how's it going, sir?
I'm all right.
Just want to know how you're holding up after everything. Did you at all try to appeal the 1-week suspension that ESPN gave you?
Not at all.
No?
It's my mistake. ESPN has every right to make the decision that they made, and I support their decision.
Good morning. On Friday, speaking right here on First Take on the subject of domestic violence, I made what can only amount to the most egregious error of my career. While elaborating on thoughts concerning the NFL's ruling versus Ray Rice, following a domestic dispute with his then fiancée, I ventured beyond the scope of our discussion by alluding to a woman's role in such heinous matters.
And those were minor infractions compared to what Sage is talking about. Everybody knows the trans issue is nothing to play with. That community is nothing to play with. Everybody knows that. And so she's playing dumb and she's being disingenuous. And she knows it, and Tucker Carlson knows it.
Black men and people who are allowed to say whatever they want quite often on social media at ESPN, who have daughters, who are athletes, who are silent. And I know damn well that they're not letting a guy, a biological male, play against their daughter on the volleyball court.
Of course not.
But they're silent. And so
Why?
I think that, well, I think it just goes back to the woke.
Blame it on the woke. That's the new hustle. If you don't have any kind of logic to back up what you're saying, any kind of rationale to back up what you're talking about, go ahead and blame it on the woke. An ambiguous word in which the average person couldn't give you a definition.
What does that mean to you? Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've
because the majority of people listening to this, we all know what the definition of woke is before it was hijacked. And so now the new hustle is blame it on the woke. In other words, blame it on the black person.
Black men and people who are allowed to say whatever they want quite often.
Don't blame it on one particular group and say it's their responsibility to speak up and they're not punished and they don't have any consequences when they speak up. When we know that's not the reality. We know that's not the truth. But like I said, Sage Steele is auditioning for the Candace Owens role. And I think she got the part. I think she just got the part. And so all we're going to hear out of Sage Steele is black man bad, white man good. It's going to be the same old playbook that they use for Candace Owens. They're going to get Sage Steele to do their dirty work and to be their attack dog on certain issues when they need be. And so I think this is going to be a wrap on this particular video. But definitely go ahead and chime in below. Let's keep the conversation going. Let me know how y'all feel about your girl Sage on this particular topic. And as usual, peace and chaos.